Just on our way to Acorn, and we're fishing a pairs match today. It's a 2-day pairs match. It's the only thing I got on sort of over the Christmas week off of work. I was looking for something, then I put a little thing on Facebook looking for somebody to fish with, and Dan Squires jumped in, messaged me, good angler, so going to be a good 2 days fishing. There's some good pairs in it, got Des in it, a lot of the locals as well, Martin Rayett, Paul Nichols, lots of good anglers, Tom Fix coming down as well, so good bunch of lads. Just had a really nice breakfast in the Hungry Horse as per usual, so let's get down to the fishery and let's see where we draw. As you probably realised by the intro, not the ideal peg, not what I was looking for today at all, I have to be honest. Last peg I wanted. Since they took all the silt out of this lake, they piled all the silt up in this area of the lake and sort of boarded it in, and it's only been a few weeks since they took all the silt out, laid it out across the island there to build it up to sort of shelter some of the pegs, which is a great idea, by the way. But this little bit of the lake just doesn't or hasn't really thrown anything up. It doesn't feel like the fish have sort of relocated, if you like, but we'll do our best. It's a 2-day pairs event, so sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, aren't you? So stocky on now anyway. Took us about 15 minutes to get this bite. And it's very muddy, as you can see, very muddy and very wet. Unbelievable amount of rain we've had recently, haven't we? Starting to think we get more of a rain season than we do a winter now. Well, we aren't blanked anyway. Couldn't find anything on the other lines. The second shelf there is sort of 5 foot deep, which was quite surprising, but didn't get a touch there. So we went down into the deep water, not a touch there either. So I started plumbing new lines. What I really wanted was sort of 3.5 to 4 foot. That seems to be the sort of depth the carp have wanted to be in. Most recently, so we had a little plumb down the edge, and I was really surprised to find 3.5 foot. really deep edges. Obviously, when they took all the silt out, they dug it a bit deeper here. So we found one down the edge. This is now, we're about 90 minutes in now, and you can see Des there off to me. Well, in the picture he's off to the left, and on the right there in the red is sort of Matty, and both of them probably had 7 fish apiece, and good ones as well. So we are way off the pace. But hey, we're fishing, aren't we? Cemetery's full of people who'd love a bad day's fishing, isn't it? So we can never complain. Sadly, it is the only one down that edge, or certainly at the moment. I sort of love to say I'd gone back in and we started bagging up, but just not the case, I'm afraid. Just couldn't locate fish at all. And I was very patient on these lines as well. You know, I'd sit there for a good 10-12 minutes. Just nothing. So day two, better peg, but in a much better section. So not the best peg in the section, and conditions aren't ideal. But let's see what we can do. So we didn't get another fish in that deep water, just that one skimmer, so back across on the feeder. And we're using a maggot feeder today, just a small Drennan maggot feeder. The wind's progressively getting worse, believe it or not. Which is a real shame, because this peg yesterday mate had it, and a mate of mine, and he had just over £60 fishing the pole long across, but you got absolutely no chance of holding the pole across there today. And unfortunately, everybody to my left who's on the same straight as me is not in my section. I'm the last one in my section. So the people on my right are in my section, but there's only one person on my right, or technically two, but the second one's sort of on the corner, which is great peg, and you sort of fish down the edge as well. So how we've managed to catch on this maggot feeder, we've played about with it. We sort of primed it, as you've seen, with that first hour, chucking across, filled the maggot feeder. Didn't really get a liner or a bite, but what I find is now I don't know if you've seen my maggot feeder set up before, but I think I showed it at a Ship Lake farm, Ship Lake fishery, and below my maggot feeder I got like two float stops, and those two float stops are just above the hook length knot, so they sit there nicely, but you can push those up. You can push them up and make the hook length longer, so it's nice and easy, simple again, isn't it? And you can push that up. I find pushing it up and making the hook length about 2.5 foot, I'm getting bites. I couldn't get a bite with a shorter hook length, which was quite strange. And also I started on 016 and a 16 hook, and I've gone down to 014 and an 18 hook and fishing single maggot. And a couple of other things I've come to realise as well is that filling the feeder every time isn't right, but I find putting in about 10-12 maggots in the feeder and a single one on the hook, flick it out there, leave it 2 minutes, let the maggots crawl out, and then just tweak the feeder back towards you just to straighten that hook length. And another little thing I learned today, which is quite critical really, is I didn't get a bite until I put a number 8 on the hook length, and I got a number 8 about 4 inches from the hook. Now, whether that water movement over there is making that long hook length waft about a little bit unnaturally, or what it is, I don't know, but the moment I put that on, I started to get bites. Not prolific, mind, or anything like that, but I mean, we're not competing in the section, but we're beating the anglers each side of us. And I do think when you get these sort of days, and you know you're not going to win the section, and you had a bad day the day before and all the rest of it, I see too many people pack up in this sort of situation. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to do that. You've paid the fish to match. It's a match situation. You can't come pleasure fishing or practicing in a match situation. So you're in a match situation. Try things. Learn things. Try a little thing. You'll be surprised what sometimes can come good for you, and you learn more. And you can just forget the match, have a little go, learn a few things, and they come in handy for next time. Never pack up. And other than the wind and the mud and the odd shower, I'm actually enjoying it. Just love catching fish. And you meet so many people in fishing as well, don't you? Which is something that always amazes me. I could end up, I mean, not today, it's so windy, but, I've met people and fish next to them, and you end up becoming mates, and everything from solicitors to accountants to, printers, builders, every type of career out there, it's amazing, isn't it? Such a good cross section of people. And the water's surprisingly coloured as well. I think it's just the rain and that, because it was definitely clearer last match we were down here. But it has got a bit of colour. And the fish are fighting surprisingly hard as well. So we had one on the pole just now. We actually had, I think it was two on the pole together. I did foul hook a couple as well, both of which came off. I think that was a bit of a schoolboy error on my part. I just sort of brought maggots, ground bait, a few micros, a few expanders if I needed them, and I've been caught out really. This wind on that second shelf, I should have definitely had some sort of heavy baits. A can of corn, a pint of hemp. That would have been perfect. Just drop in 5-6 grains. Not too much hemp. You don't want them to get preoccupied with it, but just a little sprinkling of hemp with that corn, and it's a nice heavy bait as well. It would have sort of sat in there a bit better as well, not wafted around like the maggots. Definitely a schoolboy error there. Not the best 2 days fishing I've ever had. Luckily, Dan Squires didn't do too brilliant himself either. He did better than me in all fairness. He didn't draw quite as bad, but between us as a pair, we did, well, I think we come 7th or 8th. Not very good really. But it's one of those, isn't it? They happen. It's winter. Just get your head down, try and learn a bit.